Okie dokie. All right, so welcome to Metal Sessions. In today's interview, we have Melancholy Ray, and we've got Callum, their frontman. How are you, Callum?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah,
I'm getting by.
as we all are, as we all are.
Yeah.
So just to sort of kick things off, I want to know how you came up with the name Melancholy Ray, because it seems to be, I don't know, it actually reminded me when I initially listened to the music, I thought it was going to be quite sad, but like it's like half,
Yeah.
some of it's upbeat, but it's pretty unique. How did you come up with it?
Well, to be honest with you, I actually don't like the name very much. I chose it so long ago when I was still in college, sixth form, whatever, and I chose it because I really liked that song "Melancholy Hill" by the Gorillaz, and then I was like, wow, imagine that. And then there was a band. Uh, I also liked, and they had like Ray in the name, but as in like a ray of light or something. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
why not just combine Melancholy and Ray together and put that as a thing? But problems have arisen. People think I'm actually called Ray, or someone in the
Oh,
band is, and I'm like, no, it's meant to be like like a wave. Honestly, I came up with it as like a sad 17-year-old, and now I've just kept it. But we could have changed it. I don't know why we didn't. But then also, I sometimes think like once you've got something built up a little bit,
yeah.
trying to like rebrand it is like a bit silly. So we've just kept it. It does stand out, I suppose, and it does
Yeah,
surprise people. Yeah.
I would say so. And I definitely think like, especially as a band, when you are working with other people, there are just certain things that just stick, and it's always a debate as to whether or not like it's gonna stick in the long run. But yeah, no, I think it's catchy. So did
Yeah.
anybody else have like issues with the name, or is it just you that was like, not too sure about that?
No, that's just hindsight though. Like
Yeah.
when I started doing this, I was writing stuff as well that was like very almost, I don't know, I was trying to write like sort of soundtracky, sad sort of songs. Like it's quite like folky like indie folk
Yeah.
stuff. And then I got to a stage where I was just like, it was basically in I started this project a fair while ago, but
Mm.
then it went on a massive break, as in I just didn't do anything with it because I went to uni, and first year I didn't, even though I was at a music college, I didn't actually do anything musical like to that extent because I was doing a music business course.
Oh,
So I
like
basically just had
industry sort of thing.
yeah, and I
Right.
was just yeah, kind of, and also I was just I don't know, maybe I just didn't even write a song really at all up to then properly, and then in second year I um like how a lot of things start. I had like a breakup, and then I was like kind of like well I kind of want to do something, and then that was when I started like writing that kind of like indie sort of folky like sad melancholic stuff, and that's when it sort of suited the name. But then
Mm.
I kind of got through that,
Yeah.
and then I wrote a song where I was like, this is good, and it doesn't sound anything like this other stuff, and I really prefer this, and I think people will like it more.
Interesting.
And
It's almost
um,
as if you sort of like grew into the name, but then grew out of it, like
yeah,
in a
I think
pretty
it's because
good time. Yeah.
I was trying really hard to write sad music, and then I got to a stage where I was like, this is sad, like obviously this is sad and it's not very fun, like it's not like it's not cool like trying to be like some tortured soul person. And then
Artist.
yeah, literally like Elliott Smith or Jeff Buckley or whatever, like they're amazing
Mm.
and everything, but I kind of got to a stage where I was like, why don't I write music that I'd actually want to see and
Mm.
like watch live and stuff? And
Yeah.
that's when I kind of turned a corner. And then that's when I would really say the project properly started, because that's when I actually got the other guys involved. And
Mm.
that's when it actually became a band and not just me, like sitting in a dark room like I am now, like,
Doing.
like
Yeah.
warbling. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's totally understandable. So
Yeah.
how in terms of like, oh, and actually, I was just going to say, like, it seems to be the general consensus for everyone that I know that's gone to study music. There's a period of time that they go through in which they don't actually do that much creating. It's just sort of
Yeah.
everything else, basically, which is pretty interesting as someone who, like, is considering studying music at some point. So it does make you wonder, like, what does that do to the creative process? And especially when you like throw other people into the mix as well, like, you know, you've now got new people and they've got their own ideas and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I think
Mm,
I think like when people do it as a degree,
mm,
I don't even know. I think like uni is such a weird place to try and get in the weirdest way. It's kind of a strange place to try and get productive things done
mm.
because you have everything else thrown at you and you're
That's
trying to manage
right.
like new friendships and relationships and like kind of adult life at the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think a lot of people are just like, I could write a song or I could eat a £1 frozen pizza and get shit faced in front of the TV.
You gotta weigh up your options. Like,
And sometimes the £1 pizza calls. So yeah, I think like I also found in when I went to a music college, everything was weirdly competitive, and
mm,
I have a lot of friends, you know, from uni and stuff like that, but it felt like a strange, um, I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe it's like a confidence thing as well. But I think
yeah,
like you've got to really be confident in what you're doing and
mm,
things like that, because you don't, you know, you don't want to be playing a gig and it's just you don't feel like, you know, I don't know. It's like strange kind of atmosphere sometimes, like
yeah,
because everyone who's, you know, it's been like member changes in the band and stuff, but everyone who's in it now is from my college and from my year, and I think they're also the same thing, which is just like there's a weird echo chamber in like in going to like a really specialized like college or uni, which is that it's like you feel kind of a bit like people, I don't know, are kind of like watching you in a strange way, and it's like, can't we all
mm.
just get along, guys? Can't we all just be
Can't we all
friends?
just be friends?
Literally, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I feel like from where I'm sat anyway, the music industry, especially the live music industry, is really competitive and is changing so much
Yeah,
all the time. So to a degree, I can see why it's a weird area for people, because you don't know, like, you kind of get to a point where you either decide to sort of stay true to your art form, whatever that is, or to
hmm,
kind of slip into the background a little bit and sort of get into whatever it is everybody else is doing, which I think can throw you for a loop as like a creative person. But yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty interesting though.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
you were saying, you want to do music. So you want
Mm.
do you like what kind of, do you want to do like a 1 year like course in it, or like a degree, or what's your angle on it? Like, what are you feeling? I'm
Yeah, you
interested.
know, I'm being interviewed now. Love that. To be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure. I think like being in the position I'm in, where I've got a fair amount of spare time, and I'm sort of just feeling out several different areas at once, because that's one thing that I do worry about in terms of getting into formal education, is like how rigid it can be, and I don't want to
Yeah,
get to the end of it and be really like sort of one track minded, and I'm worried that will sort of harm where I want to go in the long run. So right now I'm
hmm,
kind of happy doing a lot of different things, and then hopefully I'll sort of specialize and then figure out what I want to do from there. Um,
yeah,
but it's interesting hearing about what other people have experienced when they've been to a musical college, or when they've been to, you know, to uni to study music. Yeah, it's I'm hearing pretty much the same thing, which is basically what you just said.
yeah,
It can be an interesting environment to be in. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm probably leaning more towards the 1 year courses, but yeah, we'll see where the circumstances take us. Because you know, if coronavirus isn't having it, then I'm gonna have to
yeah,
stop it for a little while. So, and it will be nice to actually physically be able to go in as well. So
yeah. Well,
give it
is
some
it?
time.
I feel really sorry for anyone who's trying to like complete a degree or
Mm,
anything right now, because I don't know about you, but I remember like in my like final year of uni when I was trying to get all this stuff together,
yeah,
I I don't know, I just was like a mess all the time, and it's like, you know, when it's just like there's so much stuff going on,
yeah,
and like for example, like I relied on being at the uni so much in order to make me focus on stuff, because I was like, you're here, you've got to do work, but
yeah.
it's like when I'm at home, like I said, I'm just a few beers and then it all goes downhill. Like, you know, It's just strange. I feel sorry
Yeah.
for these people.
Yeah, definitely.
Ain't easy.
No, not at all. And things have changed so much since then, especially in terms of like being able to be productive in music and live music and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you guys played many live shows? Pre-virus?
Yeah, well, yeah, we did like I I don't know, maybe like 10 to 15, like when we were still at uni and stuff like that. Because it was really like, there was always something kind of going on, and it
Yeah,
would be like, kind of, you just get stuff thrown at you.
yeah,
Like, we played like, there's a venue in Leeds called Brunel, which is kind of like, it's like an institution. It's like an old social club, but it's also got like massive stages in it. It's really cool. It's like
yeah.
where a lot of people go.
Hmm.
And from just like a small angle, it's kind of like a bit of a stepping stone, I think, in Leeds to like getting to bigger places, kind of thing. And we yeah, like, I know people who've like tried really hard, and including ourselves, like we tried like kind of hard to like get on their books, and then one day they just sent us a message and we're like, or like one of their promoters was just like, do you want to play a gig tomorrow? And this was like on like a Friday, and they were like, oh, it's tomorrow, it's like a free gig. We've got like this band like who have a spare night before they go on tour, and they want to do a gig, and we were just like, yeah, that would be amazing. And it's just like, just random in that aspect. But yeah, we did, sorry, getting back to it, yeah, we did like a fair amount and stuff like that. But then obviously after uni,
Yeah.
people moved back home and stuff, and it became hard to be productive and stuff. And then also with just like working and stuff like that, it became harder to try and organize gigs. So last year was kind of like a bit of a dead year. I think we did like 2 shows in the whole what would it be like? Yeah, I think we did like 2 or 3 for the whole of like 2020. No, wait, oh my god, no, because 2020 was only like 3 months of a year. No, 2019, shit. 2019 we only did like 3, and then obviously 2020 was just like, that was it. Other than some virtual like sets we did.
Ooh, how was that, virtual sets? Because a lot of bands have been doing that in the last few months, I've noticed. Like, it's become a big thing.
It's really hard.
Yeah?
Yeah, because obviously we're trying to like balance like, so we got invited to do this one for this like kind of like festival called New Colossus. It's like a New York festival. It's really cool.
Yeah.
We got offered the chance to do that, and because we couldn't have everyone in the same room because of the COVID stuff, it meant that we had to like, I did like the basic parts of the track, and I sent the bits to like Aaron, the guitarist, and then he did his bit. But then I had to like edit it all together and like montage it and stuff. And it was like, I'm not that good at video editing, so it's kind of like a crash course. So it's a bit stressful, but it was cool. Like that. I mean, it's adapting, isn't it? I suppose. But I'm not in favour of it. I would much rather just do something live. But
yeah, I think like musicians and fans alike would just I mean, it's a whole culture, isn't it? Like, gig culture is a thing.
Yeah,
so the idea that we won't have that for a long time, or the idea that, it's going to change in some way, is kind of scary and weird and kind of daunting. But yeah,
for
people
sure.
making the most of what they have, but at least you managed to pull it out of the bag somehow. So
yeah. I mean, we got booked for like gigs this year, so we're meant to be playing in like London and Leeds in the next month, but I'm like literally in a month's time. No, wait, 2 months. But I'm just like, I don't know how it's going to happen. And there's kind of something a bit joyless, I think, about sit down like social distance gigs, because it's kind of like, I don't know, like a big part of a gig is like saying, can everyone move forward? Like, I don't know, like, like
getting an elbow to the face, a knee to the face,
getting a beer thrown at you. I don't know. We're just missing
or at
that.
least you hope it's beer.
Yeah. Oh no. That did taste like beer. Yeah.
Exactly that.
It feels strange, but I think we kind of be in favour of just waiting until things settle down properly, and so we can do a proper gig, because I don't know, this seems a bit strange. Like I said, it feels very like a jazz club when I've seen these sit down gigs where everyone's like sat there with like their like cocktail or their drink, and they just watch it. And but like our friends in a band called Eads, they played one, and I couldn't go because I was having to work. But they're playing this like kind of like high energy, kind of like post punky rock music, and like bouncing about, and then everyone was just sort of sat down, and I was like, I want people to be able to like jump up and down to see you guys, you know.
I'm pretty sure even on their end, like that must be really awkward to watch, because it's like you probably can't gauge as well if people are enjoying it as well, because they're just sat staring, as opposed to actually moving around and stuff. I don't imagine that's easy.
No.
Well, on the topic of live shows, do you guys have any sort of like pre-show rituals or anything like that? Apparently that's a thing.
Not well. I said we're in a transition of like the band members, so we have two, well, our friends Elliot and Will are joining, and so we haven't had a gig with them yet. But just from the past in general, I've had to get out of the habit. But I used to just drink a lot, partly I think out of fear and nerves. But then obviously that impacted me, because sometimes I just can't remember what I'm even doing, and I'm just like, I'll get to a verse and I'll end up having to repeat the last one because I can't remember what I'd like meant to do. So that was a bad ritual. So we got to a stage where we were like, I don't know, like 1 or 2 beers maybe before you get on. Otherwise, it's a car crash. Other than that, though, I don't know. Not a lot. Like we'll tend to practice like earlier in the day maybe, or the day before.
Yeah.
Go for a few bits. Make sure we all know the set list, and then just sort of get on with it. I think our approach is like get the show done, and then not in a weird way, but then enjoy it afterwards. Like the after party is the best bit, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes complete sense. I think like sort of pooling your efforts into the actual show and then sort of enjoying it later is
and if we're supporting someone, it's really nice to sort of like sometimes to get that out of the way, and then just sit down and just like, you know, chat. And something like you said about that gig community as well, when it's like all your mates are there, and afterwards you can just sort of get a bit silly, and it's just, I don't know, it's such a great feeling. And I think everyone took it for granted, because everyone right now would just fucking love a gig, wouldn't they? You know.
God, it's gonna be absolutely rammed if and when, hopefully, you know, we're able to get back to it soon. Like, I don't imagine that pubs and bars and all of these live music venues are gonna be quiet. It's gonna be nuts. So
I can't wait for it personally. Yeah.
So in terms of the singles that you do have on Spotify, I've got Quite the Favour and Cassette. What sort of changed between those two in terms of your sound?
I think you just
very specific one, isn't it?
No, more sort of like sensibility about stuff. I think like Quite the Favour was a song I had left over from when I was writing stuff on my own entirely, and we pretty much sat down and recorded that thing in my room and in Aaron's room, literally the whole thing, and we threw it together really quickly because I'd given myself this deadline to have the song done, and got it done really quickly, and that was kind of it. I kind of viewed it as a challenge. I think like everyone would agree. It's like we know we could do so much better with it now, which is really strange because it got picked up by Spotify. They like peddled it for ages, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And that's why it's got like a lot of plays on it. But we're like, oh no, like we wish we just spent a little bit more time and tweaked it a bit. But with like stuff like Cassette, it's like stuff I more enjoy. It's like if I look at like the bands I enjoy, I think like your music should change a bit. I don't like bands where it's like strictly all one kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? I feel like in the sort of rock and metal communities, it's such a massive thing. Like if a band changed their sound, even if it's over like the period of a decade, it's such a controversy because people just can't handle the possibility of a band changing something or just doing something different. And that's kind of nuts to me because it's like, what, you want everything to sound the same? Or
literally like thinking of a few examples, like a lot of my favorite bands are all ones who've changed a bit, and it's like just recently, like the Clash, for example, like they went from being like just really quick like 4-chord punk songs to doing like, you know, like slow ballads and, you know, like keyboard driven songs and stuff. And it's like, well, a lot of those songs are people's favorites as well. So
yeah, exactly.
and I don't know, like Queens of the Stone Age as well, like they're probably my favorite band of all time, and they changed dramatically from being very like hard rocky to being on some songs like piano ballads. So I don't know, I'm all for it, you know. I think it's natural.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as soon as, if as an artist you start, you know, sort of stifling your creativity based on, you know, what people think about it, because the thing is, as a band, you're probably just going to end up picking up different fans from a different place, which is sort of the whole sort of ethos of music, the fact that it's supposed to bring people together. So if you can't do that, then you do wonder, like, you know, what the intentions there are. But, you know, make what you want.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think it's just natural. I think because obviously when you're, you know, writing stuff, you're listening to different things as well, and that will change the way you perhaps write and stuff. And it's like we've basically right now we're sitting on like 9 to 10 songs, I think, worth of material that's just demos, and they're pretty much finished. Some of them don't have vocals and stuff, but like we've got songs on there which go like, I don't know, there's one song we've written or I wrote, and it's like an idol song really, and I'm like, we're basically planning to get into the studio and do an EP, and I'm like, that's going on there. And if that goes on and then afterwards it's like a more like simple like indie song, I don't really care, because I'd rather that people at least have a bit of variety to listen to, rather than it just being like 4 really samey like kook songs. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know. Yeah.
No, it's all good. Like, you know, progression is key for a band, and you know, if that's the direction you feel like you should go in, then, you know, there shouldn't be any issues with that. Yeah, do it.
I will.
Great. So in terms of quarantine then, this, I don't know about you, but I've definitely picked up some weird food habits, like stuff I probably wouldn't eat on a regular basis.
Okay.
Because it's quarantine, it's like definite yes. I don't have a sweet tooth at all, but I've been baking a lot and just eating straight jam. Gross, I know. Thing. What is if you do have one, your weirdest quarantine food habit?
I just feel like I've gone through loads. I don't even know. I went through a stage where I wouldn't say it's really weird, but it's more like lazy cooking. Do you know what I mean? And it's like in the summer, I was actually just cooking like a bowl of. Oh no, I was doing like those. It's like these corn, like southern fried, like chicken bite things, right?
Oh,
I'd get them, and then I'd just get some of these like instant like pan noodles, throw them in with them, and then just squirt this like katsu sauce on the top of it.
That is such a uni meal.
Just stir it together, and then I'd just eat that, and I'd be like, I just didn't have the energy. I don't know about weird things. I don't know. I just go through times where I'll just eat like cheese all the time, or
it's a staple. Like you have to add cheese to something.
But it's like, should I really be eating like cheese and crackers twice a day? Is that okay? I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, there have been definitely times where I've woken up and been like, I haven't had a vegetable in a week. Like, should probably sort that.
Very common for me. Very common. And then I'll have like a massive health kick, and I'll go to the supermarket and be like, let's get some grapes. I haven't had some grapes in a while. Let's get some juice. That'll last about 3 days, and then after that I'll be like, let's just revert back to the old ways. I don't know. Nothing too strange. I did go through a while of eating like me and my housemate Nathan, we'd get like just those like oven waffles, and then just put it in a bit of bread and just have like not even butter in it. It'd just be like a dry waffle sandwich. And I was just like, it's fine. When it was like summer,
toasty things, because a dry waffle sandwich. Okay, that's going on the top of the list. We'll see who else
got low
doing, and I'm gonna rank them.
I'll take that. So I honestly would love to have the most like horrible food. That would be big for us.
Yeah, it's a prize that many want. So, sweet. So, just as the last question, obviously things are really uncertain at the moment, but what can you say is next for Melancholy Ray at this point?
Well, literally, we're getting the plans together now. But like I said, we've got like an album worth of demos, but we're gonna put that onto an EP. Because of the weird way that things are now, like some studios are allowed to stay open as long as they're COVID safe, and some practice spaces are. So I think the aim is by the end of February to have like an EP like recorded and done, and then we're just going to sit on it, send it out to some labels hopefully, and release it in the summer. I think that's our course of action, is to like just make sure we're really happy with something before we release it. And yeah, hopefully this summer be like 4 tracks out, and we'll maybe be able to gig it as well. That'll be the dream, really.
Definitely, it'll be really cool to see you guys live finally for the first time, which I'll be sure to document if that happens. But thank you so much for agreeing to this. Well, hopefully one of many interviews to come.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll hopefully speak to you soon.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.